Hey guys, Pat Ryerke here, also known as the Patriarchy. So I'm actually a really big fan of Bret Easton Ellis, and if you don't know who Bret Easton Ellis is, he's the writer of Less Than Zero, American Psycho. Uh, I think it's called Rules of Attraction. I get that title mixed up with something else. Um, I've read all of his books. I just can't think of the titles off the top of my head. Those are the famous ones though. And I'm a fan of his writing in general. I've read a lot of articles he's written. I listen to his podcast. Um, this is something I'm going to start doing randomly on this channel. Is that I never point out celebrities or leftists that I like. I spend so much time attacking Sarah Silverman and Patton Oswalt and comedians and Judd Apatow, all those assholes. I never actually focus on the people that I agree with on some level, and I think make really good points, and aren't drinking the leftist Kool-Aid. Bret Easton Ellis is a gay man. He's as liberal, left-leaning as you can get. His books are all about drugs and addiction and sex and violence. I mean, the dude is all about anti-PC content. He's free speech. You've probably seen the movie American Psycho. You've probably seen adaptations of his stuff. He's a very punk. And if you don't like his writing or not, which I can totally understand disliking his writing, the guy is very articulate and argues his points very well. I think if you want to hear really good reviews of films, very critical reviews of films today, he's one of the best film reviewers out there. He doesn't kiss films' asses. He looks at films as objectively as he can, and he's very fair. And I think he gives some of the most fair criticism out there about movies. He was very critical of Moonlight as a gay man. And I think he made the most valid points against that movie. I think you should go listen to that. And he was very critical of some movies I really liked, like Arrival. And he makes very good points. I really like his opinion. And I want to praise him because the stuff he says on his podcast about the left and liberals is so true. And we need to celebrate these people because not everyone who lives in Hollywood that's as leftist is an asshole. This is a guy that's a very successful author, is gay. I mean, he should be the cliche, Trump hater asshole, but he's not. He's really cool. Bret Easton Ellis. Liberalism used to be about freedom. Now it's about warped moral authority. See, how many celebrities from the left would just say that like that? Like, he just, in his kind of position. Because some comedians will say it, but they're fighting for comedy and freedom of speech and stuff like that. But even comedians now seem to be leaning on the social justice politics. I mean, Amy Schumer started as a shock jock who said she was anti-PC and showed up on Fox News and all these Republican outlets, and she just lied. She lied for years about who she was, and she claimed that's what made her famous. So it's like, wait, you were disingenuous? Where a guy like Bret, he's been the same dude his whole career, and I respect people like that. I like consistency. I like integrity. That's all that matters to me. I don't care if you make shitty stuff or I don't agree with you. I just like to know you're consistent intellectually, that you're honest. And with me, that's all I really need for the most part. To be on board with you. So they talk about his film reviews on there that are very good. He has been keenly interested in changing the face of the left and increasing mono-ideology of the collective discourse on social media. It was odd then when after returning from a hiatus, it did not really look at the election at Donald Trump, which seemed in many ways to be a symptom of the alienation that this delete your account style of communication caused. That changed this week with the author delivering a 35-minute monologue about the recent election and the response to it in Hollywood and among his liberal friends. Now listen to this stuff. This is a guy who's in the center of it. This is a guy that's in California. He goes to dinner parties with all these leftists where you have to agree with them politically. He knows everybody at the Oscars. He goes to those screenings. I mean, Bret is in Hollywood. So he's there. Some of my friends and acquaintances, as well as my millennial boyfriend I've been living with for the past 7 years, are now undergoing the last spasms, the death throes, hopefully, of a kind of new liberal psychosis that is afflicting many members of the left. The building that inhabited the old-school identity politics-obsessed neoliberal elitist is being deconstructed by actually both sides. Now, he's saying the last 7 years or so he's talking about the Obama administration in many ways. This spasm, Obama really pushed the identity politics the last few years. I mean, this new era of these liberals, we saw this change. It's not that liberalism in general didn't always have this radicalism in it. I know it did. It's there throughout history, but the face of it's really come out recently. Discussing the disruptive nature of Trump, who Ellis does not support, so he's not even a Trump guy, and his campaign, he noted that it had leveled the press and made them look like some kind of old-school anachronism, unable to understand the new playbook that the disruptors had devised, and that the press was now trying to deal with, flailing about, hectoring, and, yes, wasting everybody's time by taking everything so damn literally, while the anarchists in the shadows smiled to themselves, awaiting their turn. Liberalism used to be about freedom, but now it's about a kind of warped moral authority that is actually part of the moral superiority movement. This faction of the left is touchingly now known as the Resistance. Oh yes, the Resistance. What is the Resistance? They are the posters all around my neighborhood in West Hollywood urging me to resist, resist, resist. Some of us who did not vote for Trump and located exactly who he was decades ago. I wrote about this in American Psycho, in which Trump is serial killer Patrick Bateman's hero. Some of us have been wondering, resist what exactly? And who's telling us to resist whatever? The people who voted for the candidate who lost? I'm supposed to listen to them? What am I supposed to be resisting? That's funny. The people who voted for the candidate who lost, am I supposed to listen to them? That's such a great point. It's like, why am I listening to you? You didn't know what you were doing. You lost. Why are we celebrating the losers? This is one of the only elections I've ever seen where the losers are trying to act like they've won somehow, even though the left completely lost this election and the political cultural battle that was going on over it. While I'm certainly resisting the childish meltdowns I've been witnessing at dinners and on social media and on late-night TV and too many times in my own home in the aftermath of Donald Trump's victory last November. In fact, many of these people I knew were disappointed in the Trump victory and moved on. We're also appalled by the childlike liberal disbelief of their own party that was manifesting itself in embarrassing ways, with so many morning after posts titled hysterically, "What am I going to tell my daughter?" Yeah, so that right there, pretty to me, just a bunch of truth bombs. This is why I love Bret Easton Ellis. Everything he said there was great. The media looks outdated. They look like they don't know what they're doing. They look like children. The reaction from the left is childish. It's some fake moral authority that they're trying to say that Trump won and we are morally superior, so you have to fight with us. But the problem is, like Bret says, you're not morally superior, so you're not going to get the movement, and it's just going to help people like Trump because they're going to use that against you because they're not necessarily playing the moral argument card. There's a grayness to Trump's morals and the Republican Party right now that's appealing to humans that the left is completely ignoring. The left likes to act like it is superior, like it has reached this utopia of perfection of how you treat people and how we talk about things, and that's ridiculous, obviously. But I want to be optimistic because I'm always so critical of everyone, but not everyone in Hollywood is an asshole. Not every single one of the writers, comedians, actors, directors, what have you, are assholes. They're not all on Twitter bitching. Most of them seem to be. Most of the ones I follow seem to be. Guillermo del Toro, Max Landis, it's endless. They all post stuff all day that's anti-Trump or anti the Republican Party. But, what's cool about Bret is that, as someone who has a mindset of liberalism for him, which I think had to do with freedom of speech, and even him as a gay guy, he liked gay culture being counterculture in a sense. I think he doesn't like this mainstream leftist attitude towards gay people or black people and all that. They act like they're pets. They treat them as special little snowflakes, and they don't want to be treated that way. And they don't agree with everything that the left says and wants to do. And they have to come on fight. Look at Sam Harris. Sam Harris is a leftist, of course. He's very critical of the left. He doesn't even believe in the left anymore. He's talking about being a centrist. Sam Harris articulates, well, these people are important because we have to have a dialogue with them so we can make that understanding with each other of ideas that we agree at least on the fundamental ideas that are true, like people should be able to say what they want. We need freedom of speech. We don't need to censor. We need to be open to talk about radical Islam and immigration, illegal immigration. But we don't need to, believe in complete demagoguery. We don't need to go completely leftist or rightist or buy into all this populism or fighting each other. We can find a middle ground of understanding with each other, but we need the smart people to talk about it and figure this stuff out. We need to stop these discussions with people like CNN and MSNBC and even Fox News, which I'm a fan of, but BuzzFeed and HuffPo and everyone. We need to be more selective with who we let talk about this stuff. Now, I'm not saying anyone can't talk about it, but the people who need to be the center front of these sort of things, these guys should be the representative of leftists. We need people who are smarter to push liberal principles, like we have, someone like Ben Shapiro for conservative principles. I believe in these things. I believe in discussion. I believe in academic debate, and I believe in the future and progress that comes from those things, from guys sitting around like a bunch of philosophers in the symposium or something, where they're just talking about ideas and stuff like that. I believe in that, and I believe that is how we make progress, and I believe we're getting that on the internet. But clearly a lot of people, especially from the left, want to keep that from happening. And we have to stick up for the people who aren't that way. So please support Bret Easton Ellis' podcast. Go listen. I'm a fan. If you don't like him, that's cool. But I suggest, if you might actually be surprised. It's some great pieces on there about film. But he's really great at criticizing the left. He does not like liberal message movies, as he calls it. I love it. He pretty much criticized every liberal message movie that came out the last few years, and he's got a great argument for it. And yeah, he's very anti-freedom of speech and stuff like that. I mean, he's very anti-people who censor your freedom of speech and humor and stuff like that. So, fuck yeah. Anyways, the Patriarchy. Like, comment, and subscribe. There's a lot of content coming out in the next few days. I thank all you guys out there for supporting me in these hard times. But, hey, you know what? It's great that we can all share a joke together and have a fun time. And we can share and I don't know. I feel like I share a lot with you guys, and you share a lot with me, too. Some of you guys leave the funniest shit in the comments. There's some great one-liners in the comments, and it makes my day to read that stuff. So it's all worth it for the connections we make with each other and the discussions we can have when we're not just sucking each other off all the time. We actually have some really fun little back and forths, and it's all worth it. And that's all I want. It's fun interactions, good back and forths, discussion, happiness, laughter. Because laughter is the key to, I think, all of us getting along, is if we find the laughter. Anyway, until next time, go fuck yourselves.